I know people are going to be walking in here as we're doing this, but I want to introduce you to a young man who has, as I told him 2 minutes ago, saved my life because he did something really important for me. I have come into this building several times on my own when no one else was here. And I've gone to the pastor's office on the third floor when no one else was there. And as I walked down the halls, more than once, I have been petrified by seeing someone I thought sitting in Ben Renner's office on a couch. It was a gigantic stuffed, only Ben Renner would have this, Jesus. Except every time, literally every time I walked in, I would see this thing and think it was a person sitting in Ben's office when no one was supposed to be here. And I would get very scared. I guess it was the Synod Assembly, right? Yeah. Gavin, I'm going to introduce to you. Was it the beans that counting the?
It was mini Jesus's in a jar.
Oh yes, there were all these little teeny Jesuses in a jar, and you had to guess the number, and he guessed the right number. So he took Jesus, that is the stuffed Jesus, away from here, and it's now living at Lutherhill, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I have a soft spot in my heart for Gavin because he really made it possible for me to go upstairs, like yesterday and the day before when no one else was in the building, and not have my wits scared out of me by a stuffed animal, of being Jesus, I guess. And you have to think that only Ben Remmer would have such great stuff. And unfortunately, Ben is close to Gavin, so this is all worked out. So he's going to tell you about a program that the ELCA has that not too many people know about. It's actually a national program, and it's something that happens every year. I'm not going to say any more about it, but I am going to introduce Gavin Gillar to you to tell you about it. He's about to leave after he finishes his current work at Lutherhill. So, Gavin, it's all yours.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. So it's really awesome to be here. Really awesome that y'all have welcomed me here. Y'all have a really beautiful sanctuary. I also saw out in the narthex this pamphlet all about young adults global mission, which really excited me, and I read through it. And I learned something I didn't know before, which is that one of the requirements to do young adults global mission is in fact a sense of humor. So I guess I have that now. So I'm Gavin Gillar. I am a recent graduate of the University of Houston. I studied political science and sociology. And I am also a cradle Lutheran. I grew up going to St. Martin's Lutheran Church out of Sugar Land. And since January, since I graduated, I've been working at Lutherhill. Currently, I am their summer media coordinator, which means I take lots of pictures and upload them to parents and also make videos and slideshows and all sorts of fun stuff. And super exciting, in about 5 weeks, 5 weeks from today, I will be doing Young Adults in Global Mission, a program where I will be leaving for a year to go live in Mexico. So what is Young Adults Global Mission? It is a program for people aged 21 to 35. So you got the young adult part. To go serve a year. It is a year of service in another country. It's a year of service, accompaniment, and faith formation in a foreign country. You are fully integrated into the local community, living, working, and going to all the same shops and doing all the same thing and activities as the locals. It's tempting to just call it a mission trip, but I wouldn't exactly call it that. I'm not going to be evangelizing to anyone. I'm not going to be making disciples of all nations. If anything, these people will have a lot more to teach me about Jesus than I have to give to them. I know I'm going to be somewhere in Mexico, very likely Mexico City, but I'm not sure exactly yet what my job does. Most likely, and what I'm most looking forward to doing and what I've told them I want to do is working in this men's migrant shelter in Mexico City that helps people coming up north, either Mexico City is their final destination, or maybe they're going further north. It helps them with legal assistance in Mexico City, helps them have shelter, helps them find a job, and helps them find a permanent place to stay. So that is something I would be really excited about. I've always been really passionate about immigration because growing up, my family had about 14 foreign exchange students. These were all high school age girls who came to America to see what a year of high school in America was like. And I just gained this appreciation for other cultures, for other people coming to America to experience what it's like. And I think that's super awesome.
Which program was that?
Mother.
One was called Intercontinental Exchange. We went through several programs during that course.
One was called like ASF, right?
So
ASF?
something.
AFS.
AFS.
AFS, yeah.
So yeah. And so when you're in the other country, you also have these educational opportunities. So this is where I will be meeting up with the rest of my YAGM cohort. This might be an educational opportunity. I know one of them is around New Year's, I will be visiting a migrant shelter on the border, Mexico and the United States. There are other ones for Christmas and I gotta try to say this correctly. Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. I gotta work on my Spanish. Also other holidays. So lots of times when the whole YAGM cohort, which for Mexico is about 5 people, will be meeting up together. So for YAGM, the country placements change a little bit every year. And this year, there were 4 different country placements. There was the United Kingdom, Mexico, Argentina, and Cambodia, yes. And you don't get to pick which country, not exactly. It is this very long process called mutual discernment, where they try to work with every step of the way, learning everything they can about you, what you're good at, what you like, where you thrive, and try to pick for you based on what they know and what they learn about you, and try to pick where they believe you will best thrive. So this starts all the way back in November. I did my first application. It was a lot like a job application, but it was also a lot of deeper questions. What's my relationship with God like? What's my relationship with the church like? My community? What am I good at? Stuff like that. And so I did the application about the same month it came out because I was so excited. And then after that, it's this long series of interviews. I did my YAGM. The first one is a YAGM alumni. So YAGM alumni is somebody who's completed their full year of YAGM. And I did it with a girl, I believe her name was Emily Winning. And she had just done a year in Mexico. And initially, I had not considered Mexico at all, but she got me really excited about Mexico. So my next interview was with May Helen Jackson. She's the program director. And this was like the big sit-down job interview. Before that, it was a much more formal conversation to ask questions, whatever. And this one felt a lot more like a job interview. She asked questions that you might see in a job interview, like how do you handle conflict with a coworker, whatever. And after that, I was officially a part of YAGM. I was a YAGM candidate. And they gave me my 2 potential countries, which was Mexico and the United Kingdom. And of those, I didn't really have a strong preference. I think I kind of went back and forth. I was like, yeah, Mexico would be a lot more exciting. But also, it's a little bit scary because I don't know much Spanish at all. I know about as much Spanish as anyone from Texas, which is enough to order at a Mexican restaurant. So after that, we had our interviews with our two, they're called country coordinators, the main people who live in a country, who are pastors who run the program in that country. So with Mexico, that was Pastor Sylvia Lopez. And in the United Kingdom, we actually worked with another program, and I forget what the name of that program was, but they had their own staff. And I ended up really hitting it off with the person from the United Kingdom because it was one of the weirdest interviews I've had in my life because we both had ADHD and ended up talking about ADHD for about half the interview. So that was really strange and also really cool, and I got really excited about the United Kingdom after that. And the final step in mutual discernment is you go to Chicago. It's this assembly called Discernment Interview and Placement. You have a few more interviews. You get to meet the rest of your YAGM cohort. So everyone doing YAGM from every country. That was about 25 people. And finally, at the very end of it, you get to go to a big sanctuary together, and they read off your names one by one. And so I was in that room. I was really, really nervous. I think everyone was really nervous. It was very somber, or maybe somber is not the right word, but you can get it. A huge gravity of the situation because you're about to find out where you're going to spend a year of your life. So they're reading out the names and the countries one by one, and they say Gavin Gillar, Mexico. And for a while, it didn't really click to me. I was like, yeah, I don't know. It took a while for the full gravity of what that meant to sink in. It didn't really hit me until the rest of the afternoon. When we were going through, we went to a room separately just for the YAGM candidates for Mexico. And everyone went around the room and said how they were feeling. And it felt like everyone was like, yeah, I'm doing awesome, amazing, fantastic. And I didn't speak what I was thinking in my head. Am I the only one like freaking out right now? So I had my first little freak out about it, like, oh my God, this is happening. Because up until that point, I'd been working at camp. I had been so busy, I hadn't really had time to stop and think about it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be living in Mexico for a year. I barely know the language. What am I doing? I'm a little bit in over my head. That kind of deal. But I think it took about a day or two. I talked to a lot of different people, like slowly over time, I did start to really get excited about it, really accept it, really be like, this is where I'm called to be. This is really exciting. So I've been going around to, this is my third church now I've been to. One was my home congregation, and then I've been to Christ the Servant and now Christ the King. That's been a little bit confusing. And I'm probably going to go to maybe one or two other churches. And there's a couple of reasons I'm doing this, but a big one is that I want to raise awareness for this program. I was talking to Pastor just now, and we were talking about how if you are in the Midwest, in Minnesota and Wisconsin and whatever, somewhere where, as he said, you can throw a stone and hit a Lutheran, or can't throw a stone without hitting a Lutheran. Everyone knows about YAGM. And indeed, when I was in Chicago talking to everyone else in the YAGM cohort, almost everyone was from Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, whatever. There was one other girl from Texas, from Austin, but unfortunately she has a health issue, so won't be able to do it. But yeah, so that's a big reason this is important to me. To go to other churches to help spread awareness. If I could get like a couple of people, if I could inspire a couple of people to do this program themselves from the Houston area, that would be really, really amazing to me. And the other reason, of course, is for a full year of Young Adults in Global Mission, it costs about $40,000. Of that, the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America invests $30,000. But YAGM candidates, like myself, are encouraged to raise the remaining $10,000. So I have these pieces of paper at your table. The pastor was asking me if he could support me, and he asked me how to give me money, and I said I am super prepared for this question. And I gave him a piece of paper. So yeah, you can see there's a couple of different ways. I think I have option one, which is you can pay online. I think this is gonna be the easiest for you. This is what I think most people have been doing. You can go to elca.org/YAGM/give, and you can donate with a credit card. There's going to be a little drop down link, and by default, it's just going to say ELCA Young Adults in Global Mission. You have to click that drop down and go to Gavin Gillar. I'm a little bit worried that some people haven't been doing that because it's easy to miss. You can also write a check. And with that check, you have to include my giving code, which is right there on the piece of paper. Or in a few weeks, about a week before I leave, I will be having a burger fundraiser. So this is my last little big event. It costs $12. You have to prepay so that we know how many burgers to make. But yeah, that is all I have. If anyone have any questions? Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't even think, right? You mentioned you took a lot of those pictures and.
Yes, I
did. So were you just in the frame that you feel?
Yes, I do work. I work at Lutherhill. I'm currently the media coordinator, the social media coordinator. So I take all the pictures. Were they the?
So I don't know, Joseph and Alice, Joseph is the tall one.
Were they the people who were just doing the accolade? Yeah. Okay. Yes, I know them. Yeah. They played a lot of card games at Lutherhill. So yeah. Yeah, I know. I did know them.
What, when the YAGM program, when is it targeted for youth? Like how old and
It is
people usually go?
21 to 35. And as for how many people usually go, this year it was about, or did I say 21 to 35? I think I said 25.
Okay, yeah.
It's 35. This year it was about 25 people doing it. I think in previous years it's been a lot more, but it's kind of decreased since COVID, unfortunately. It used to be a much more competitive program.
So it could be somebody after maybe graduate college.
Yes, that is
grad school or
yeah. Almost everyone I talked to was around my age, and it was people who had just graduated college. So I was probably like the median aged person. I'm 23. Yeah. So I think that's really the prime time to do it, right when you graduate college. Yeah. Yeah. Something to have in the back of their heads 10 years or so. Any other questions?
Sorry, one more thing about community. So where in Mexico do we go?
Most likely Mexico City, and I would say most likely I am going to be working in a men's migrant shelter. So as they're coming up north, a lot of them stay in Mexico City. Either that's where they want to live, or maybe they're going to be going further up north, and this migrant shelter helps them to kind of have a place to stay, get a job in the city. It provides them legal assistance, all sorts of stuff. But that's not the only job. I know there's several things. There's women and family migrant shelters. There's domestic abuse shelters. I think there's a lot of things for children. So if you're good with children, which I am not, which is weird because I work at camp. But English classes, there's also the LGBT center. So there's all sorts of jobs you may be doing, and that's just in Mexico. That's just the ones I know about.
We will make this available on our website in emails. And we will do it more than once, because it's gonna be there for a year. I want to say a couple things about this program, if it's okay with you. So, in my congregation in New York had three of these. Three people did this between I'm going to say maybe it was 2000 to 2010. And all of some of the cool things that happened with those people is, of the three, one is now a pastor. She did her YAGM year in Bratislava in Slovakia, and then she went to seminary, and when she got out of seminary, she became the pastor of the English-speaking church in Bratislava. She's now the pastor of a Lutheran Episcopal congregation in Big Sky, Montana, which is a lot nicer for her than Bratislava, because she and her husband and kids are big into skiing and all the things you do in Big Sky. My bets are she'll be a bishop one day. The other two are both very active lay leaders in their congregations. One is a lay leader of a congregation in Buffalo, New York. The other one is a lay leader in a congregation in the Lancaster, Pennsylvania area. And so this program is really first class. It's done well by the ELCA. Its leadership is, as you heard from Gavin, they're really, really careful about how they make a choice. It's almost like going through a call process for a pastor. And it has done wonders for keeping young people in the work of the church, either again as pastors or deacons or lay leaders. So I really think this is one of the best things that the ELCA came up with. Had to be early 2000s when they started this program. It wasn't immediate, but it's really turned out to be a great program. And unfortunately, as Gavin said, it took a hit at COVID, like everything else took a hit at COVID. And so the number of people, when the three people I knew in New York got involved in this, it was very competitive. And they were never sure until literally they got that appointment in Chicago that they were going. And it was a big deal when they finally were given the chance to become YAGM folks. And but COVID just kind of slowed all that down. So to be down to 25, I think the first one I remember was well over 100 candidates, and they only picked 30, I think, in that year. So, and the countries change. They're not always the same countries. Notice you didn't mention Slovakia as one of them. So it really depends on where there's someone willing to work with a young adult. And I guess this year with smaller number of candidates, we ended up with just a couple of places where they were willing to do that. You should know that there's a missionary, or there's a mission person we support in Mexico City. His name is David Brandos. And so he was just here in May. So maybe you should get into contact with him when you're there. He teaches at the theological seminary there, which is an ecumenical seminary. So we have another contact there that might be helpful. Do you have any other questions, folks, about anything else? Since this is the day when we're supposed to not have a forum of a book review. Gavin, unfortunately, was planning on being here anyway, so we got him in. But is there anything else you need to know right now? You could see that we're getting ready to get this parking lot back. It's going to take 2 more weeks. They're going to be out of here by next weekend. And here's what's going to happen next weekend, and you'll see this in our email. They have to take that crane down that's up in the middle of the building. I was here for the days they put it up. It's chaos. There's no traffic between Greenbrier and Chaucer. Actually, I think it goes to Morningside because they have, and they're bringing in 2 cranes to take down 1. I met with them on, I think it was Wednesday or one of these days this past week, and it'll take from Friday after evening through Sunday evening. So if you come at all on Rice Boulevard, don't even attempt it. Come some other way, University. I don't care what other way, but that's not the way to come because they will not let you through. And frankly, my experience with cranes in big cities is that it's dangerous to be around them. So I will be very happy when this thing is down and gone. So that's what they're doing next week. They'll take the trailer out of here and the other equipment. And then we had a New York conversation because they need a couple extra days beyond our lease agreement. So I said to them, I really need you to restripe and remark both lots. So there are going to be a whole lot more arrows. I know you know where to go in and where to go out here, but I can tell you there are a lot of parents in the school here that have no clue that there's an in and an out, and you can't go in and out, you screw up the in. So there are going to be lots more arrows, and both places are in desperate need of being restriped, and that's not a cheap thing. So the deal is that between next weekend and the following weekend, they'll do all of that. And so we'll have to move cars around while they're doing it if anybody's on this campus. So that's getting done. And just so I say a couple other things, we got a bunch of people in the hospital. Been a really rough couple of weeks here. And so just so you know, because you'll hear it in the prayers, so I better tell you so you don't panic. Andy Weinset is home. But he had the surgery that was necessary for his feet. Remember, he had a heart attack. Maybe he had his aorta was disconnected from his heart the day after Thanksgiving. And heart surgery was in intensive care for cardiac intensive care for 75 days, which nobody is ever in that long. He because of the loss of blood to extremities, he lost some fingers in his right hand, and he lost a little more than just a few fingers in his left hand. And this one this last surgery was to deal with his feet, where there's also been some amputation, not much, but enough. So he'll be in recovery for that for a while. And after that's done, Andy will have yet another surgery to give him the possibility of having prosthesis so he can walk with his feet. And then he's got another surgery yet to deal with yet another problem. So he's going to be on our prayer list for quite a while. I'm guessing at least another year till we'll finally see him in church. He's in great spirits, which is really something to see given all that he's been through. But keep him in your prayers. Rodney Koenig is in the hospital, or he's out of the hospital. I'm not sure where he is at the moment. Is he still in? Because there was a possibility when I saw him on Friday that he'd be out, but not yet. So just so you have your prayers right here, Rodney was diagnosed not too long ago with prostate cancer. And at his age, usually the doctor says, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's very slow and it's not gonna cause you any trouble." Well, it turned out that it's moved into his bones. So he's in MD Anderson. He's going to be having radiation treatments coming up. He's on a prayer list, so rather than ask what's going on, I'm going to tell you what's going on. The other person that was just in the hospital is Gary Mirchin. He had diverticulitis, which turned into a much more serious problem. And so he had some surgery to get him ready to have everything working properly again. And he's home as of last night. So we got 2 home and 1 still in the hospital. So just keep them all in your prayers. I don't have anything else unless you have questions about anything. You'll hear in the prayers for those who have died that we have added 2 people to the prayers that who have died. The man who was shot and killed by ICE agents here in Houston, remember him. And this morning we added Lindsey Graham, who also died suddenly this morning. So it's been a rough couple of weeks, and it's not going to get easier for a while. Anything else?
How are you?
So no, this was it's been an interesting month because we decided that for the month of July and into the middle of August we would close the office on Friday, and I've been here every Friday since, which is astounding. I mean, it's like we close this and other things happen. Carol is having surgery Thursday to carpal tunnel syndrome. And so they're going to fix, I think it's her right hand. Yeah, I know it's her right hand. So she's fine, but and right now she's going to be in and out of here today because our kids are on vacation and we have the dog. And in our house, when the grand dog comes, everyone else comes fourth after that. So Carol loves this dog. She's never had a dog. The dog loves Carol. Carol spoils the dog. And my son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter come back tonight. I'm going to have a procedure too. I'll write about this, but on the 28th, sort of like Gary and sort of like, in a way, a lot like Rodney, I've got both of the problems that they had. About 15 or so years ago, I had prostate cancer, which was treated very quickly but with radiation, and there were no side effects except at about the 45th or so treatment, I suddenly got fatigued, which was interesting because I didn't know what fatigue was. The fatigue happened just before Advent of that year, which in the church in New York was formidable. And the fatigue lasted for a while. I didn't expect that. I talked to Rodney about that on Friday because it doesn't go away right away because radiation is cumulative. I also have diverticulitis, like Gary, but nothing is serious. Although about 6 weeks ago, I couldn't get out of bed because I was in a lot of pain. I went to the emergency room because that's what you do. And in the emergency room, they said, "Oh, we could fix that problem. Here's some medication," and it worked. But they also saw something on a kidney, and it turns out there's a bit of a growth on the back of my left kidney, which may be malignant and may not be malignant. One doctor says, "No question, I have no doubt it's probably not malignant." The other doctor says, "I have no doubt it's probably malignant." So, but the nice thing about it is it can be easily removed because it's outside the kidney. And it's not removed with surgery, it's removed with a procedure that freezes the growth. So on the 28th, I'm going to have that surgery, that procedure. And I won't be here the following weekend, not because, just out of abundance of caution, and because my wife insists on it. There's no recovery time for this. It's supposedly instantaneous, but Carol says you will take a week. So I will take a week. I listen to my wife on every subject. I don't argue. That's the way we've been married for 44 years. I say that to all of you young people. That's coming up. And then then we'll get busy in August. So that's the answer to your question. We're fine. The congregation is fine. I just saw the stewardship report. It's astounding how wonderful, how supportive you are of this congregation. It is astounding. I've never seen this in 52 years as a pastor. You've met the budget and are doing better than in terms of income. So we're really in a place that when we finally pull the call committee that we picked already together in August with the council, we can move in very positive ways for a new pastor, a younger pastor. Anybody else? It's a lot of information there. So I really urge you to be supportive of Gavin. This is a huge program, and as he's saying, it's not as well known in Texas as it is in the heart of Lutherland, which is Pennsylvania, Minnesota, and the upper Midwest. But it's something that is really, really, I think, important for the future of the Lutheran Church down here in the southeast corner of Texas and the southwest corner of Louisiana. So here's our ambassador for the future. Anything else? Good. It's early, and you can all have coffee and whatever. We're done. I think we can shut this off.
Very good.